My name is Blayne Knott. I'm a managing partner with Clean Comfort Home Improvements. How much does a new roof cost? It depends on the product that you want to have. It depends on the project scope. It depends on, well, one, the company that's going to be installing it and what the process is. And it's not just to say, okay, I want a new roof. And it goes back to that thing of, it's not just as simple as a new roof is a new roof is a new roof and anything's better than what you've got now. It comes back to what's the experience that you want to have. Do you want to have a situation in 5 to 7 years when all the Band-Aids and kind of things that get masked start to break down and the new roof you paid for today in 7 years from now starts to leak, starts to degrade prematurely? You don't want to have that, especially at these kind of expenses, because it's an expensive endeavor. So a lot of the times, when we say, or someone asks, well, how much is a new roof? Well, it starts with understanding, what your long-term ownership is, intentions are rather. If you plan to sell the home in a year's time, it probably doesn't make sense to spend 3 times the money on a custom interlocking metal roofing system. If you're looking to make this your forever home and keep it for generations, we see a lot of family cottages, custom builds up in kind of a lot of custom builds up around kind of Warthas and just up north of Kingston and stuff like that, up around Charlotte Lake. We do a lot of really, really nice custom metal work using some really, really high-end premium products, because these properties are going to be staying in the family for generations. And they don't want to have a system or a situation where they're trying to, redo it again in 20 years time or something like that. So again, understanding what your homeowner, or what your intentions are in terms of property ownership, understanding budget to fit the best possible product into that, understanding what the scope is of the job itself. Is it 30 feet, 35, 40? Is it 10 feet to the eaves? What's the degree of complexity? Is it really, really cut up with lots of valleys and dormers and peaks and valleys and all that kind of stuff? Or is it just a nice, simple, straight gable, 10 feet? So that's a relevant item. And then also the degree of slope, which is when we calculate pitch, is it something our guys can walk around on? Or is it something that we're tied off in anchors and harnessed in and belaying down from the top? So all of these things factor in: accessibility, tree coverage, all that stuff. So when we say, okay, how much is a roof? There's a lot of variables to take into account. In terms of, kind of a starting rate, as the average home, you're going to be under 10 grand generally for the average home, just under 10 grand. If you're something that's a little bit bigger, with a little bit more complexity, the only thing that limits the price is your imagination. A new roof should last about 15 years at the very, very minimum. If you're going with more of a high-end product like an Owens Corning shingle like we use, or a Malarkey product that we also offer, you could expect that to see 25, 30 years. And I know that the warranties last a lot longer and all that stuff, but in real terms, a basic asphalt shingle, or kind of a mid-level or premium asphalt shingle, should last you about 25 years. I know that the warranties last longer, but the warranties, they don't pay attention to what our climate is like in southeastern Ontario. If you get a roof done from us with an Owens Corning product, it's not going to leak for as long as you're going to own the home. It's that simple. It's just not. With all the work that we do, with all the prep work, the shingles will look like hell in about 25, 30 years because of the sun and the freeze and the thaw and all that stuff. But it's not going to leak. Yeah, so if you contracted us to do your roof and you had a problem with it, 1 year, 5 years, 9 years down the road, it depends on what it is, right? If it's a manufacturer defect, the manufacturer covers our costs to come out and do whatever's required. If it's a shortcoming on behalf of the shingle itself, that's a warrantable item through the manufacturer. If it's a shortcoming on behalf of the installation or labor or something like that, or in terms of workmanship, we cover it 100%. There's no deductible, there isn't even a conversation about it. If there's a question, comment, concern, any kind of feedback that isn't overwhelmingly positive, either myself, one of my reps, our operations team, or a second measure tech or a quality control manager, someone is going to be there in a really, really quick timeline to be able to do an inspection, do a walk around with you, and get whatever information that we can. If you do have a problem with it, there is no cost to you for us to repair it or replace it. If it's something that we did wrong, we cover the costs. If it's something that we didn't do wrong and it's a manufacturer thing, we will cover it, not even involve you, and go back to the manufacturer and say, hey, listen, you know, this isn't good enough. People generally just want a good experience and they don't have to think about it. Like you guys, for example, you specifically, if you guys aren't roofing guys and you need a roof replacement, you don't want to have to become a roofing expert just to get your roof replaced. It's good to know about it. And if you call our company, we're going to come out and try and educate you and help you understand what it is that we do and why. But you know, we don't expect you to be answering going through an exam afterwards. We just want you to be really, really happy and thrilled with the results and never have a problem. And if you have one, we've got to be very, very reactive to making sure that we come out and look after it. Because at the end of the day, we're only as good as you say you are. Right? If you say that we're great, we're great. And if you don't have a good experience, and believe me, if you don't, everyone's going to know. So we got to make sure that we look after everybody. And it's a tough business this time in this particular industry, right? So it's an emotional purchase. It's your house. I'm on the dealer advisory board for one of the finance companies that we work with. So we get some pretty cool customized programs. We're like a pilot company for like kind of Eastern Ontario, Southeastern Ontario. We customize programs and try them out in terms of like finding really, really convenient customized payment schedules for people. But failing that, just the standard finance options, it's almost like a mortgage, but it's an open-ended loan. So with a mortgage, like you have a minimum amount that you have to pay in terms of interest. But a lot like a car loan, you don't. Like most car loans you can write a check and pay it off whenever you want without a minimum penalty or anything. So if you want to get a roof done, siding replacement, soffit, fascia, eaves, troughs, whatever it is that you want to get in terms of exterior work done through us, we can package everything up and go through some really, really good payment options, find a payment that works for you. The rates are, they're very competitive for the home improvement industry. You can get lower rates on like, line of credit or something like that. But, sometimes people don't want to tie up their line of credit. So having, a really convenient option. What most people do actually is when, say for instance, you're in like a 3 or 4 years left on your mortgage or 2 years left on your mortgage. You don't want to pull equity out of your house. You don't want to tie up your line of credit or whatever it is. A lot of people will just do a finance option with us and run that payment for 18 months or whatever it is, 2 years, and then just write a check to pay it out after they renew their mortgage. So they just roll everything into one. It's good to understand what the warranty terms are for whatever the product that you want before you buy it. Not a lot of companies will give you that, and they don't want to give you that full transparency. We do. We want you to understand what it is, because again, the more you understand and the more you're able to kind of explain to your neighbors and friends and colleagues and family, the more likely it is that they're going to call us. So we want you to understand as much as we can. And one of those things is the warranty details, understanding the types of coverage, whether or not it's a prorated warranty where it drops down in coverage over time, or if it maintains 100% coverage for that length of time, and whether or not the warranty covers just labor or if it's materials or both, and what the exclusions are, because the exclusions are kind of tricky sometimes depending on the product type. So. Thanks very much for watching. If you want to chat about a project or have a question about an installation that's upcoming, give us a call or send us a quick email.